Good morning, lovely souls. Happy Friday. It's the 1st of July. Welcome to this part of the year as we are now steadily kind of moving towards the Lion's Gate. And what a different platform of energy we've got since the solstice. It's utterly changed. It's come in at such a frequency that a lot of us have had to kind of really recalibrate to actually work with this energy. I'll describe a little way the way that I've seen it, and this has been occurring particularly since 2019. And we've been experiencing the ascension process by living on a planet that is rising in vibration daily since particularly the cosmic moment, the 21st of December 2012. So from this point onwards, I witnessed Archangel Metatron doing, it was initially, they were called light dispensations. So that was 2013. This is when I was first beginning to work with the incoming light and set out on my ascension pathway, bringing information through, but actually anchoring and establishing this light and this new skill set and all of the new spiritual tools myself. So it began in almost like certified bursts of light that would come in, and they would be very, very high frequency, but they would come in almost like pillars, and it would almost be like they were kind of measured out very carefully to do the job. Then Archangel Metatron would release them, and they'd come down to the planet and they'd do a very specific task. They'd raise the frequency, say X amount, and then people would spend a little bit of time integrating with this. So these dispensations were kind of like the beginning of the light waves, the light bursts that came in. And now we're in 2022, we're talking almost like a full decade on from this. And the light is so different. It is so high frequency that every time it comes in, you and I have to recalibrate totally what we're doing. I mean, if you consider that your physical self it's the most sensitive and most receptive. You are a sensitive, receptive, psychic, extremely a being that feels so much more than you would imagine, or senses so much more than you imagine. You're clairsentient, you're clairaudient, you're clairvisual, you're clairaudient, and all of these mixed in together. But everything comes in such an overload with the quantity or the quality of the receptors that we currently have at the moment, that it's very difficult to discern or differentiate what's coming in, what's to be listened to, what's simply to be absorbed. And it's almost the difference in the quality of light or the quantity of light that we've received since the solstice is a little bit more like, it's on one side, before the solstice it was like pouring a cup full of water into a pond, and now with the other side of it, it's like someone's unleashed one of those huge kind of water hydrants, and it's just pouring in. So we've got this huge amount of light that we're dealing with, and I'm seeing the effects of what it's doing, and the change that it's creating. Most of this at the moment is within these sensitive receptors within us, this highly sensitive, highly evolved soul that is just remembering who, what we are, what you are. And for those that haven't actualized their ascension pathway yet fully, those that are still kind of in the middle, or have been a bit resistant to the wake up, or simply might not have actually agreed to wake up at the moment, it's creating a significant quantity of uneasiness, struggle, sadness. So there's many people that have completely been separated from their emotions for so long, all of a sudden they're having to feel, they're having to acknowledge. And this is tough, and this, I'm seeing a lot of these effects, particularly within the divine masculine souls who've been so suppressed for so long, who've been running and functioning from the ego, doing what men are supposed to do, and in this very strange 3D reality. And all of a sudden the heart is active, the heart is taking over, and all of this stuff needs to be actualized alongside all of the thousands of years of the 3D setup, where it's been a masculine dominated planet and the divine feminine has been oppressed and suppressed, and all of this is coming out. But on the other side, paradoxically, you've got the 3D matrix that's trying to invert this role, when in actual fact it's returning back to the purity at which it was first created. So there is so much going on, all of this emotional turmoil, all of these people around us going through this all of these different scenarios. And it's very easy to get completely lost or pulled into our personal journey, or simply to be kind of a little bit overwhelmed maybe by what's happening, with seeing and feeling as well what is occurring to those around us. And the year is moving so quickly. Even my elder children, I mean, are saying, what happens to time? What's happened to time in the last 2 or 3 years? They're focused on university, working, their social life. When I was 19, 20 years old, I wasn't worrying about the passage of time. I was just doing what I do. But people are aware of the fact that time is no longer linear, and it is flowing at this incredible pace, depending on what our focus and our attention is particularly on. Now, this incredible platform deluge of light is being brought in with a very specific purpose. It is to reveal all of the shadows that exist within ourselves, and also within the parameters of the society around us. So we're seeing everything almost with new eyes, with clarity. We're seeing into corners that have been completely unlit for thousands of years. And that in itself creates, within us, we have to adjust to this. And we're going to see more of it. Okay, we've got a period of time now between beginning of July and the opening of the Lion's Gate. I know a lot of you will say, well, the Lion's Gate is on the 8th of August, the 8th of the 8th. I always see it as a 3-week or even a 4-week period of time, where once the energy of Leo activates, when the sun moves into Leo, that is the beginning of the opening of the portal. So it's kind of extended around with this very powerful focus point on the 8th of August. So we're going to start moving into that Lion's Gate portal energy quite soon, within 3 weeks. So there's going to be 3 weeks of revelations, things that we can see that maybe that we couldn't see previously. Stuff that is going to be revealed to people around us, but more so people navigating their emotional, their barometers, their nervous systems on a planet that is rising so hard and so fast in frequency that it is almost difficult to keep up with. And interestingly enough, as with these incredible quantities of light that come in, there is always the reflection from the third dimension, the matrix. They are well aware of the fact that we are on this trajectory, that the ascension process is unstoppable. Okay, any kind of dreams or illusions or plans that they might have had to prevent this from occurring, That book has been scrapped. It's long gone. So we're down to kind of like, right, what, almost like preventative measures, or measures that are being taken to kind of like salvage what is salvageable. And of course, as I said in my previous videos, the third dimensional matrix, where we have learnt for so long, that's not going to disappear. It's not, you don't, a dimensional space does not go away. It simply continues to exist, but at a frequency that no longer concerns us. And it will continue to do so with a lot less power, because we will have all unplugged. And of course, there will still be people that choose to learn at that level. They will still learn. They incarnated for this lifetime with a soul agreement that said, we've got more to learn here. Might not be so far along the soul pathway. This might not be their master incarnation. If you're listening to me at the moment, and whether you fully understand what I say, or whether it's just a little bit of a soul chime, or perhaps you're interested, you're drawn towards it, I can safely say that this is most likely your master lifetime. You haven't incarnated on this planet to have a full 3D experience. You will have started off with your 3D experience, and you'll be now going through the same process that I've been through, that other people have been around, that other people around you have been through. And you will be aware of the shift that is occurring on this planet, even if you don't fully understand it. And even for people like myself who've been studying this process pretty much since I stepped onto my spiritual pathway, which was a long time ago. I mean, I'm 50 this August, so I've done 50 laps of the sun altogether, and I started looking into what was going on here, I'd say probably around my 19th or my 20th birthday. So I'd received my shift, I'd received my call, my push, my change shoved through the gateway. And I began the seeking phase of the process, where I was looking for answers, looking for verification of the things that I'd been seeing and feeling as a child, and the reason why I felt so completely removed or different from all of the other things that were going on around me. And so, but even with that quantity of learning and observation and experience under my belt, I am still navigating this process, what we're going through currently at the moment, with the same level of trepidation, shall we say, that seems to be the word, trepidation, that you will be, because we are creating as we go along. This is a process of self-mastery, and it's also a process of alchemy, where we are fully responsible for what we create. And that's what's making this process so unique, this ascension process, this jump from 3D to 5D, is that we are doing it by holding the light together and growing stronger by the day. And as we do that, we create. We're creating to a Goldprint that's been written for us, but we're making it as we go along. So it's subject to the laws of planet Earth. It's still subject to the laws of 3D, 4D, 5D. All of these other different abilities to individually create and co-create as we go along. So it's a very finely tuned process. Ultimately, and you will have heard this go beautifully, and I love that this is happening. The guidance is beginning to come through on many different platforms through many different teachers now. Not just me, not just somebody else that you might be following. The heart is the key, okay? You get into your heart and you let your heart guide your process at all times, okay? There is no other aspect of you that needs to be running the show at this moment in time, and that will be the way for a long time to come, because we are ultimately shifting into a heart-based consciousness. So we've moved from the ego that has held and run the show very securely for so long into a heart-based consciousness, and this is what's tripping people up. This is what's so difficult, making that jump, making that traversing that huge chasm that many people have from the ego, where life was a certain way. It was set, it was solid, it was comfortable / uncomfortable in whatever way that we'd chosen to live our existences. It was tangible. You could pick it up, you could touch it, you could feel it, you could taste it, every aspect of it. But now our senses and our powers of creation have just exploded into a realm where we are literally feeling it and creating it as we're going along. And what's so important over the next 2 or 3 weeks, and I do mean important as well, is to stay in that heart. Okay, there are more and more stories coming out in the media, and this is a narrative that you will have heard me speak about many times. Observe, okay, observe with and from the heart what is occurring. Observe from the higher perspective. Don't take on what you are being shown or being told as a personal frequency that you wish to engage with. There's one particular event which is catching a lot of people's attention, which is occurring on the 5th of July. Apparently and some of you might know about this, some of you might not, there's a very powerful third dimensional tool that exists in Switzerland called Cern, and apparently that is being used, and the story goes that it's being used for the to strengthen the purpose of the 3D matrix. And from what I can see, people are like, "Oh, that's awful. What they doing?" kind of thing. What could they possibly do? Okay, let's look at this logically. We are now a united heart-based consciousness on this planet. We've created our own platform of energy. What they do in 3D is entirely down to them. That's their business. What happens in 3D stays in 3D. It doesn't affect us because we've created our own platform of energy. We'll observe and we will see and we will witness what they're doing, but it's only with our permission does the energy that they create or the circumstances that they create for themselves affect us. So let them open their portals, let them enjoy themselves and get on with what they want to do, be it coming from a place of pre-planning or whether it's being done in a state of panic. We're going to see this. We're going to see as many efforts as are possibly left within the bag of tricks to maintain control of what is going on with this ascension process, but it is no longer in their hands. Okay, what is in our hands, what is in their hands, is the ability to eventually just simply let go if their soul has asked them to do so or they've agreed to do so, and begin the ascension pathway. And eventually all of those that we would regard as trapped within 3D, within the 3D matrix, will be joining us. Okay, it's the 3D is a learning platform. It doesn't last forever. The soul can only incarnate so many times within that vibration before it is ready to move on. And remember that everybody that we can see around us, that we regard as asleep, has come from a very high frequency. They just have forgotten who they are and have got to go through that very stodgy learning process to get back, to find their way back to light, find their way back to source. Remember what it's like to function from the heart center. And many of them are actors. Okay, there's so many actors in 3D. Actors in the spiritual field, actors on the TV screen, actors in politics. It's all a show. It's all a show to keep the people who are tuned into it focused and captivated. So one of the most important things that we did was to take our attention away from that TV screen, to stop being part of it. And even every single little thing that you will see that you are offered or presented with, and it isn't offering, it's given to you, and you are given the option of whether you engage with it or not. Every one of those offerings is pre-scripted to create a vibration that draws you in. This is what has been so amazingly clever about the third dimensional matrix and how it has functioned. It is a realm within itself that was created by the focus and the intention of powerful souls that are tuned into it. Powerful souls that were joined by the outer major at the back of the neck. And we all agreed to this. We weren't dumped there against our will. We didn't wake up there and find ourselves. It's not like we were kidnapped and placed in there. We agreed to that experience. We've also agreed to step out of that experience. So what they are doing there at the moment, that is their business. It does not concern us on the Ascension pathway. It is not the business of sovereign ascending souls and those remembering their mastery to be worried, concerned or fearful about the actions of what the 3D matrix is choosing to do. We've got Ascension stuff to deal with. Okay, we're guiding and actualizing the building of something much higher and much brighter, and together, when we're focused upon it, that is very, very smooth and very, very clear. So be in your heart as much as possible, and be in your heart for the people around you, not just for yourself but the people around you. Okay, because stability is needed. When you are in your heart, you become a solid pillar that other people can harmonize with, that their frequency rises to. But it has to be stable. Everything has to be stabilized at the higher frequencies now. And that's what a lot of us are finding so tough, because we're having to adjust again to this huge amount of light that we're being presented with. Okay. So do the work, do the adjustments, move back into the heart every time that you're brought out of it. Okay, and with this date, I'm very excited to announce that I'm going to be going up to see my good friend David tonight. And together on Zoom and other platforms that we're streaming to, we are going to be launching live the Ascension Toolkit, which is what we've been working on together for so long. And we'd be very, very excited to see you there if you want to join. Sending you all lots of love. I'll be back on Monday morning. Hope you have a beautiful weekend. Bye for now.